The biggest challenge comes when these planes are trying to take off and land. So how do air traffic controllers keep planes moving quickly, safely, and on schedule? How do they do it? Hong Kong, one of the busiest ports in the world, and now Hong Kong Airport, again one of the busiest. Every day, an average 1,250 aircraft take off and land here, making it the 5th busiest airport in the world. And every single plane arriving and departing is handled by a team of 250 air traffic controllers. It's a job that requires a remarkable degree of skill and incredible attention to detail, because at any one time they could be handling up to 12 aircraft.
Radar 118.92.
We have to ensure that all aircraft are well separated according to the regulations, because even though it's like a chessboard, there are hundreds of lives on board on each aircraft.
High in the skies is Cathay Pacific Flight 407. It's en route to Hong Kong from Taiwan. On board are over 200 passengers who will shortly join the 37 million other passengers who pass through Hong Kong Airport every year. Their lives are in the hands of the air traffic controllers, who must ensure the safe takeoff and landing of every plane at Hong Kong.
Air Macau 661 Roger, contact departure 123.8. Good day.
In front of each controller is a radar screen, a two-dimensional picture of the skies above them. Despite all the technology around them, they still rely on batons to help them complete the job. They may be low-tech, but they're the fail-safe system in case the computers crash. The controllers have to think bigger than 2D. They have to juggle distance, space, and time as they translate the blips on their screen into a mental image. Back in the skies, Flight 407 is getting closer to its destination. Approximately 200 miles from Hong Kong Airport, it makes its first contact with air traffic control.
Cathay 407, Hong Kong radar, good morning, identified. Clear Yamato 1 Alpha arrival, runway 07 left, cancel speed restriction at Malin.
Now, a relay race of command springs into operation. It begins with the windowless bunker of the Air Traffic Control Center. Here, the central controller is the first person the pilot speaks to. He directs the plane towards the airport, merging all descending aircraft into a single file as they approach.
My responsibility is to bring the aircraft from each entry point from adjacent airspace to integrate into a stream and to hand off to the approach suite in the proper sequence and spacing.
The controller instructs the pilot on speed, altitude, and weather. If the airport is too busy, he can put the aircraft into a holding pattern until space is available. Once Flight 707's landing slot is clear, the central controller's job is complete. Around 40 miles from the airport, he hands over to the approach controller.
But as the area controller passed me the aircraft, the Cathay 407, I take the Cathay 407 to a lower level. And on the other hand, there are lots of Hong Kong departure coming through the airspace. I need to separate those departure aircraft with the arrival aircraft.
As the plane nears the airport, the gap between it and the plane in front narrows. Now they're separated by just over 2 miles. It may seem a lot, but they're actually just 15 to 20 seconds apart, so each decision by the controller becomes ever more crucial. The approach controller uses a radar approach system that displays the flight number, speed, altitude, and carrier.
Cathay 407, right.
As soon as the plane has safely made it to within 40 kilometers of the airport, the radar screen flashes green. The next stage of the journey is about to begin. Now the flight is passed from the windowless control room to the control tower.
As a tower controller, basically we receive the plane at about 8 nautical miles from the aerodrome, and we talk to them, giving a landing clearance on the runway, and then we will pass it on. And once they vacate the runway, we will pass it on to the ground controller.
With every moment and decision now critical, the tower controller has an additional piece of equipment to help her: her eyes.
Seeing out windows improve my reaction, and of course it's an enjoyment too. It's just all about the job, looking out at the window, looking at the aeroplane, looking at the weather.
Approaching any airport, aircraft become vulnerable to local weather conditions. In Hong Kong, this can mean unpredictable high winds due to the surrounding mountains. The tower controller monitors this constantly and passes all information on to the pilots, who adjust their approach speed accordingly. Flight 407 makes its final approach. For the air traffic controllers, the whole process never stops as they juggle more approaching and departing aircraft and continue to play a vital but rarely seen role in speeding you safely to your destination.